Hello, Audubon, New Jersey, especially Audubon High School graduates, those of you still living there, and those of you who know other Audubon graduates, especially from the 60s era, that knew Mr. Calvin Ingling, our principal at Audubon High School. For you that don't know it, Mr. Ingling and his wife have spent their whole life there at 314 Pine Street in Audubon. Mr. Ingling was the one that escorted me out of high school back in June of 1963. But we have been in contact over the years, and I'm going to brag. I was one of his success stories. He and I talked over the years, and he said very insightful things to me about methods in schools in the past, and I consider him one of my lifelong mentors and friend, and as a friend, he is now in need. And for you still in the New Jersey area, and I know most of you are, everybody I see coming out of Audubon seems to have stayed there in the New Jersey East Coast area. Now, I've known for quite some time now that Mrs. Ingling is suffering from Alzheimer's. Well, I talked to her today, and she sounded so sprite and so happy. So her spirits are still there. Now, the bad news. Mr. Ingling was just diagnosed with cancer 2 days ago. He does not have his final diagnosis from the doctors to what kind it is or what the treatment's going to be. But it is serious, folks. The cancer is in multiple places. Radiation probably will not be the cure. He will have to probably go through chemo. If he can. He's 85 years old. He's in great spirits. He's very happy. He gave me permission to contact the world because I would like any of you and everybody out there to contact his family or contact himself, send him a card. If any of you are around there, make sure, try to help him and his wife get through some of the, probably what's going to be the darkest days of their life. He's very worried about her, of course. He's got a good family there, but they're not in the area. They're spread out. So anything any of you could do, I know that my wife, in her last couple years there with multiple tumors in multiple places, still had some good quality of life going there. And towards the end, it gets very painful, and you can't do much. So, if you can put together a task force there of food, lawn mowing, of whatever they need, help that family out. They really deserve it. Good Audubonites to the end. So I implore you to pass this message on to anybody and everybody that knew Mr. and Mrs. Ingling and their daughters. I know they're spread out. I know one of their names is Carolyn. Gosh, even they've all since retired. Isn't it wonderful to, as a child, have a high school principal that you know even when you're going into retirement? Well, there isn't much I can do for him out here. Money's not a problem. They don't, you know, so that's a big thing there. Money's not a problem. Probably something to help keep up their spirits or some little things. I know he enjoys talking to me. I don't know whether he can be bombarded with phone calls, but some of you out there, right there in Audubon, you know, that's got internet. He doesn't have internet. They're not on the internet. So you know, cards and a task force to just somebody to talk to him and say, okay, Calvin, what do you need now? They've already talked to him about hospice, and hospice is those last months when there's no medical care that can be done. He doesn't know yet what they're going to do, whether he's going to be able to take chemo or not. So I just implore any of you that are in the area. I'm out in Seattle. I can't do anything other than check in on him. He's got my number. I got his number. Wait a second here. Let me... well, his number's available on whitepages.com. Just put in Calvin Ingling, Audubon, New Jersey, and it's an 846 number, and his number's readily available. So I don't know what else to say. If this doesn't grab onto one of you to leap in the air, and if you're retired, you know, give him a helping hand in spirit, or tell him your story. Let him know that your life has meant something, good or bad. I mean, he tells me stories about some of the kids there that they didn't like me and I didn't like them, and I didn't like Calvin very much in those days, but I never hated him, and like I said, he's been a lifelong friend to me. So. I don't know what else to say. I know Mrs. Hull out there, who was Mrs. Pierce in Ohio. She's got some medical problems, but she hasn't given me permission to discuss them with you, so I will respect her privacy. And she'll be seeing this video. So, hi, Mrs. Pierce. Hi, Mrs. Hull. How are you? This is old toothless Gus in Ording saying goodbye now, and help when you can to anybody that you can. Later.